If you had any question whether or not the Brown family were aware of Peyton's now notorious interview with John Yates, we have confirmation that at least Gwen and Christine are aware. Gwen is actually planning a response video to Peyton's interview, and she was fielding questions from her Patreon subscribers. She has a lot of feelings about Peyton and the things he said during his interview, and she also confirmed some of what Peyton had to say about Meri. Let's get into today's video. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. I just want to give you guys a heads up that I have some thoughts about what I saw Gwen post on her Patreon and what was screenshot and posted to Reddit. If you are a Gwen stan, this might not be the video for you. I love Gwen. I am so supportive of what she is doing, and I'm so interested to hear everything she has to say about her childhood and growing up. I think that she is a commendable and very amazing young lady. With that being said, I had some thoughts on some answers she gave some of her subscribers. I'm not going to lie. It's no secret that Gwen wants nothing to do with her brother Peyton. She made a post on her Patreon acknowledging Peyton's interview and referring to it as a, quote, terror rant. She says she is planning to record a video responding to Q&A about Peyton's interview. Patrons quickly started submitting questions, and Gwen actually answered a few that were then screenshot and put on Reddit. I will be including the screenshots that were already shared on Reddit, but I would highly recommend subscribing to Gwen's Patreon and or subscribing to her YouTube channel so you can support her directly. I think that would be a really good thing to do. One thing I will say is that Gwen has admitted in her Patreon responses that she has not actually watched Peyton's interview herself. She says just seeing a picture of Peyton sends her into panic mode. I can completely understand her not wanting to trigger herself in such a manner, but at the same time, we have to then take her responses in the regard that Gwen really is responding to what people have relayed to her Peyton said in the interview and not the interview itself. Things can often get lost in translation, so that does concern me a little bit. Gwen seems to be taking the biggest issue with the things Peyton said about her, Leon, and his overall attitude about women throughout the 3-hour interview. All things that I personally found to be incredibly problematic and troubling as well. I am very much looking forward to hearing what she has to say, but I'm not gonna lie. I hope that since she is taking the time to share her responses to the interview, I hope she watches it herself. It is completely understandable if that is just too much, but if she doesn't watch the interview herself, that does put her responses in a bit of a different light. Mental health is of paramount importance, and I don't want Gwen to subject herself to anything that may trigger or further traumatize her just to fulfill subscriber questions. That's definitely not worth it. Several Patreon subscribers asked Gwen about the claims made in his interview regarding Meri. I was very interested to hear what she had to say, as she has referred to her and Meri as having a good relationship in the present day. I have noticed something about Gwen when watching her reaction videos. It seems that if Gwen is interested in maintaining a relationship with the family member being asked about, she seems to extend quite a bit of grace to said person in her answers. If she is not interested in any sort of relationship with a family member being asked about, absolutely no grace is afforded and the worst intentions are assumed. I suppose that is a bit of human nature, right? But it's just something I've noticed. For example, when asked in a previous video about Cody belittling her mom, Christine, Gwen made the statement that her mom really isn't one to be belittled and that Cody wouldn't just bully someone for no good reason. To me, this statement was a bit troubling, as objectively there is never a good reason to bully someone, And I don't think that that was necessarily what Gwen was truly intending on saying, but I do notice that she extends Cody a lot of grace when discussing his bad behavior because it's clear that she is trying to maintain a relationship with him. She is still very young, and this is such a unique predicament to be in. A young adult that grew up in front of the cameras. There's not exactly a manual provided for how to navigate all of this. When discussing things Peyton does or says, she responds with things like, fuck that guy, and things like that. No grace extended. I do not judge Gwen for that, as we do not know the full extent of what happened between the two of them. But as I just said that Gwen is a young adult that grew up in front of the cameras, so did Peyton. I was truly alarmed by some of the rhetoric Peyton used during his interview with John Yates, and I really feel like he is a product of his upbringing. I hope that he encounters people, friends, teachers, what have you, that take the time to try to counsel and educate him rather than just write him off. I think everyone deserves the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to change. It's what they do with that opportunity that's completely up to them. So let's talk about the couple of screenshots that were posted to Reddit that involved Gwen responding to questions regarding Meri and the alleged mistreatment that Peyton brought up. Here, someone asked, hey, maybe a quick summary tonight, just general thoughts, and an actual video tomorrow. I'm sure this will be a difficult video, so keep your mental health as a priority. That being said, have you perceived Meri being abusive? Gwen responded, she was scary as a kid, but she never attacked me, and I only saw her violent once. That was a long time ago. Someone else asked, Peyton has mentioned many times how abusive Meri is and how others do not like her, but you talk highly of her. Was she nice to some of the kids and not others? Gwen responded, Meri had moments where she was rude and scary, but I don't remember her getting physical with anyone except for Mykelti, and that was only once, and I believe that everyone deserves a second chance. Peyton is hypocritical for calling Meri out on her supposed violence while ignoring his own. He was, and likely still is, the most violent one in the entire family. So here Gwen confirms Meri did in fact get physical with Mykelti, and I will clarify that when she says only once, I will assume it was only once that Gwen saw. She goes on to say that everyone deserves a second chance while simultaneously condemning Peyton for being the most violent one in the family. I just have to point out that this is a tad hypocritical. She clarifies her statement saying Peyton was, and likely still is, the most violent one in the family, indicating behavior that happened a long time ago, and that she doesn't know what Peyton is like now. She's just making an assumption. Like I said before, I thought much of what Peyton said during his interview was very problematic. But why is he not worthy of a chance to change when everyone else is? We know that spankings and flicks on the mouth occurred as a means to discipline the Brown children, and it doesn't seem like any of them considered this as violent. When Gwen says that she saw Meri get physical with Mykelti, I am making an educated guess that it went beyond spanking. I myself am not a fan of spanking. I do not practice it as a parent myself, but even children know the difference between reasonable discipline and conduct that is extreme. It seems like Meri's conduct was verbally and emotionally extreme, and on at least one occasion, it crossed the line to physical as well. I used to be super judgmental of Robin for not allowing Meri to take Ari and Saul for the couple days on a trip when she wanted to. But if she was witnessing some super problematic discipline by Meri, I can't say I really blame her. It seems like Gwen considers what she's heard Peyton say in the interview as being somewhat exaggerated. She hasn't put out her reaction video yet, but I'll be interested to hear about what she has to say, if anything, about what it was like growing up around Meri. I remember as a child myself being around adults, whether at church, school, etc., that could be considered disciplinarians, but I was never scared of those adults. I just knew those adults had a certain expectation of behavior and wouldn't tolerate too much in the way of shenanigans. I was never in fear for my emotional, mental, or physical safety. There is definitely a difference, and I think the brown kids know that as well. So I do not think we are just talking about spanking and yelling. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. As always, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Reality Squad. And just a reminder, I will be live tonight on YouTube, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to talk all things the paid-in interview, the fallout, all of the chaos that is really surrounding the Brown family right now, because it is a lot. So meet me there at 8:30 and we'll have a discussion. All right, everyone, take care. Have a good one. Much love.